I should do that more. I do video texts. You know, if I'm not able to reach them in person, I will do a quick video and text it to them, and that has worked pretty well. And I did not do that before, but I should look into the BombBomb because I know it's easier to use. But on that note about your market updates, I know that a lot of people have asked about have the prices changed because of this? And I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Greg, and anyone else who wants to chime in too, because I don't feel like there has been enough time for us to get appropriate data and comps to see if the prices have been affected. I have to think that maybe in the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, we'll be able to go back in time and say, that was listed during the during the stay-at-home order, and therefore the days on the market are longer, or maybe they took less than they would have otherwise because they needed to sell. But I feel like I don't have that data yet to be able to say that prices have changed. Have you seen that in your market updates? Have you noticed data that anything's changed?
Kelly, I personally have not. I mean, it's price is a lagging indicator. That, as you said, it's price is always 30 to 45 days behind market as far as our ability to predict and look. And we're just getting to that 45-day mark. So the data sets aren't quite where they need to be yet. But we are seeing, and also at the same time, it's very price bandwidth, what I've been seeing. When people talk about what are you seeing happening, well, $500,000 and below is very different than 2 million and over. So that's really what we've seen, is that the market actually stayed pretty resilient. Up to, well, for Boulder County has stayed pretty resilient 1.5 and below. 1.5 and above, the market has taken a major pause. So that's what we're really seeing. So.
And a pause, yeah, what I'm seeing is a pause just in terms of just zero activity. I mean, I've got, of course, we just opened up for showings yesterday and only in Boulder County, so my Broomfield listings are still sitting there. But you're right, the lower price points, I've received multiple offers on listings that no one could even see. And that, it was not a problem to sell those in for well over asking. But the higher end, I'm getting some virtual tours. People are watching the tours, but I'm not seeing showings yet. You're right, the pause is absolutely happening in the higher price points.
We had a property we're writing an offer on yesterday, and its offers actually are in right now, and there was 8 offers on the property. So, and that was under 500. So it's a tale of two cities right now, and so you have to pay attention of when answering that question. The next question is always, well, what market are you talking about? So
good point. And I think it's important when we're trying to, I don't know if this has happened with you, but a lot of my prospective buyers, buyers who were in the queue and then decided to wait because they didn't absolutely had to buy and it would make sense to do so. They seem to think that there's like a huge recession coming, that prices are going to drop, everything's going to hell. And I feel like educating them is super important because I'm not seeing that. And
right.
I'm seeing a pent up demand with buyers who are really excited to buy, especially with the interest rates the way they are now. And I'm not seeing this, real slow buyer's market that they all think it's turning to. And so I feel like we spend a lot of time educating people as to what it's really like out there.
And I think that's what we have to do right now. And it's one of the things that looking at is what I'm seeing in the market is like showings opened up yesterday. And let's look at a teeny bit of positive news that came out that we're allowed to have some limited showings. Well, if you look at that, there was a 35% increase in listings going on the market just based on that positive news. There's a 25% increase. This is just short statistics of properties going under contract because of that little bit of positive news. So if we look at that, our buyer pool and our seller pool are wanting to move forward, are still wanting to buy and sell properties. So that's the difference that we're seeing based on corrections that have taken place in the past. And this is not a financial correction. It is leading into a financial correction, but it was a health correction. So
Right.
the people's initial motivations and goals of wanting to buy and sell are not being as affected. So I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. Still extremely strong buyer activity and extremely strong seller activity. They're just waiting for the okay. So.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Kim. I have a question for both of you. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they, in my opinion, had made a statement that could have been incorrect. I was searching for a word there about sellers losing time on market if they listed, and this was before showings opened up. And the counter that I said was, well, wouldn't this be a fantastic time for a seller to list, because there has been kind of a people holding back. So anybody who has strong motivation as a seller and is going to list, put themselves in a fantastic position.
Yeah, I think I have a few sellers who listed about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, who are continuously concerned about what the market will look like to the public. And I think I put that out there in a survey and some social media stuff to sort of get realtors' takes on it. And most people told me that, geez, this is an unprecedented kind of situation. I think we all get it, that, if you listed the house 30 days ago, no one was able to see it. It is not a problem with the house, or it's not something that there's a reason why it's sitting on the market. It's obvious, like we all kind of know about it. And so I explain that to my sellers, and a couple sellers say, yeah, we get it. That sounds good. We'll just sit on the market and wait till this opens up. And a couple of them are still concerned about it. And I feel like days on the market is going to be a very skewed data point in the next 3 or 4 months. And especially for someone like Greg, who's so good at stats, look at this and go, oh crap, this is such an anomaly. We're going to have to build in an anomaly data to deal with days on the market. I do think it's almost like having a prolonged coming soon time. We had this prolonged coming soon where everybody got to look at it online, and everyone could take the virtual tours and put it on their list of, this is a house I want to see when I'm able to see it. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and I agree with Kelly. I think right now people understand. You understand right now that if you are going to go out to a restaurant, you're doing takeout. We understand the situation, that it's based on the environment. I understand that if I'm, if I'm going to go ahead and look to work out or I'm not doing that with other people. So, and as far as days on market, it's the same thing. Is people know that house was on the market during a non-showing time period, especially if they're being represented by a professional broker who can step back and say, hey, that was during the time period we couldn't show. Now, that also what Kim, you referenced to is it a good time to put on the market or not? Well, here's a simple thing. Based on the number of homes that came on the market last week in the 1 million to 1.5 million or 1.5 million range in Boulder, I don't have the statistics right off my head, but it was actually like 23 homes went under contract. So, and that was the biggest jump in that particular price point as far as under contracts are concerned. So it really depends on the house, depends on the pricing, depends on what it's actually not a lot different. It is a lot different. I'll change that. It is a lot different than what it used to be as far as before COVID, but the dynamics are still the same. If the person's willing to price their house correctly, get it in great picture condition, and then have it ready to go, then we're seeing properties selling. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. You had asked him, what are we doing now that maybe we found out we didn't need to do? Which I thought was an interesting question. I really thought about it too, because I thought, I can't think of anything that I am doing now, that I've learned during this process that I didn't need to do that I was doing before. except for a couple things. I'm a big fan of being in the office. I'm not like a stay at home, a work from home kind of person, because I kind of like to go to work and feel like I'm working, and when I come home, I want to be home. And two separate worlds works better for me. Plus, I love networking with the agents in the office and having the energy of those people in my team. I don't like being away from Colin. But I've learned that I can. Now I've learned that, you know, if I need to be productive at home, I've figured out a way to do it. I also have figured out that makeup is highly overrated. I'm going to stop wearing it. I'm over it.
Me too.
Greg, I was just going to ask, Greg, are you going to stop wearing makeup, Greg?
I am. I'm actually going to stop cutting my hair. I love what's happening.
It looks good, Greg. I dig it. You know, like washing your hair and putting on makeup takes so much time, and I really not important, and I'm going to give it up. So I've learned, but otherwise I feel like actually I've had to do, like what Greg said, even more of what I did before. And I really think, you know, everything that you do now is what's going to happen 3 months from now in your business. So all the energy that I've put forth in terms of marketing my sphere and past clients, and social media, and then I sent out one big mailing during this time too. I really think it's going to benefit my team in the next couple months. And I'm going to stop spending time on makeup because it's wasting my time.
Don't need it anyway, Kelly.
That's true. She doesn't.
Ah.
I do need makeup. You know, I would say our biggest change, what we've done, and as far as this time period, we've leaned into it. I will have to say I've increased my spend on marketing almost double what it has been in the past. So I've really been hitting my social marketing, social channels. I've been really working on my some of my retargeting processes that I use off of my website, as far as and I'd be happy to go deeper into that sometime with folks if they're interested. But we have really, you know, we've gone on. We've definitely put all of our we've changed our message to a softer message, just that we're here for you type of messaging. But we have also been really on top of putting any new listings that we have on the market. We've upped our social presence tenfold on that. And we've seen a great response on it. I will have to tell you that we aren't getting folks that are looking to buy or sell right now, but we're getting a lot of folks that are just interested, and we're getting a huge group of people that we can just stay in touch with and flow with, so that when they can start flying again and can come to Colorado, that we're going to be there for them. Because I am actually a strong believer that, and I'll put it down to the old Ford philosophy: family, occupation, recreational dreams. We all know that, but let's put Colorado through that filter. If there's such a tremendous amount of people that I've been talking to that their grandparents or parents have come here to help out with the kids during this time period, and now they want to move here because they want to relocate here. I've received several calls from clients of mine that, hey, can you help start looking for a 2-bedroom, 1-floor living situation for our folks? They've been here during this time period and they want to stay. So that's happening. Number 2, occupation. We are learning to work from home, and everybody's learning to work from home and making a difference. Well, if I'm living in, nothing against Kansas, but if I'm living in Kansas right now and I can now work from Boulder, Colorado, or from Broomfield, Colorado, or Erie, Colorado, and enjoy the beautiful environment, I'm going to make that choice. And I'm going to start having ability. And my company now has the ability for me not to have to live within 9 miles of where we work. So I think that's going to be huge for us. Recreation, enough said. One of the recreation capital of the world is Colorado. I call it the plane test. When you're going on an airplane and you're sitting next to somebody and they say, hey, where are you from? I always say, where are you from? They say, California. I'm like, oh, that's nice. California. They say Texas. I go, that's cool. Yeah, that's nice. New York. Sorry. But I listen to them. Then I say, they go, where are you from? I go, Colorado. They go, Colorado? Oh, you're from Colorado. I've always wanted to live in Colorado. I love Colorado. So that's that's happening. And then dreams. Here's the final thing. When something major happens in life, we reflect, we look inside, we think about ourselves. And there's so many people that their ultimate goal is to live in Colorado. And they're gonna step back and say, you know what? Life is short. I'm going to do it. So I think the big thing that we're doing right now, as far as our business is concerned, is we're gathering chips. We're gathering names, people that we can stay and flow with and answer questions with, because I do believe whether it's 6 months to 18 months, whatever this curve is, whether it's a V curve, a check curve, a U curve, whatever it is, as far as this quote curve that's going to recovery is going to happen, there is going to be a Colorado surge. And I think we as real estate brokers have to be ready for the surge. And that's why we need to be leaning out into our spheres and letting people know we're there for them. But also on your Facebook and other mediums of your friends that live in California and you didn't really think about them ever buying or selling because they're in a different part of the country. I think you need to be really leaning into them right now too, because when the surge happens, they're going to know people coming here and they're going to be looking for someone to solve them. So that's our big change that we've made. And I think that's the big change that we're going to continue with, is we're going to lean into this. And like I said, I don't know if it's 6 months or 18 months, but I know it's coming and I know we need to be ready.
So this is Kim Gregg. That was some great stuff there. Question for you when you talk about upping your social presence. Can you say a little bit more about that? Is it Facebook? Where are you doing it? Are you doing boosting things? Tell us a little bit more about what that looks like.
So I look at multifaceted. It all starts in my sphere. I'm going to be straight up. I think that's the key. You know, you got to make 36 contacts into your sphere on an annual basis. That's job number one. And doing it different ways. But job number two is it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's retargeting online, whether it's like an AdWorks type of companies that do targeting across the internet. Those types of avenues are what we need to be doing. You need to be doing to just increase your presence and let them know you're there for them. That's what we've been doing. And we've been getting good feedback on it, and we've been getting good results as a result of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, at least for me, I am spending a lot more marketing money on my listings in terms of actual 3D MAD report tours, not just slideshows. Let's call it a beefier, more thorough CAD drawing, floor plans, you know, things that can be sent to people from out of state, because Greg is 100% right. There are so many people who have contacted us saying, when this is all done, we need to move to be closer to our parents, or they need to move to be closer to us. And people are realizing the connection of family. And I spent a lot more on my marketing than I used to over the last month, which at first I thought maybe wasn't such a great idea, that maybe I should be scaling back, truly just in an effort to budget properly. But actually, I found that by spending more, I was getting out there a lot more, both on Facebook and Instagram, and I was getting more responses, and people were actually contacting me. So I'm glad that I spent the extra money, and I'll probably try to budget that additional money throughout the rest of the year too, because I agree with Greg, that's important. Interesting. Thank you.
What else do we have here?
Yeah, what else?
We talked about, is there a question or a comment?
No, I'm just saying, you know, you guys, so what were you doing that you're not going to do? That you went, besides your makeup, you addressed makeup. What about in your business?
Oh, me? Yeah, no makeup. What am I doing now or what am I not doing?
What were you doing that you guys didn't need that? And sorry, I had stepped away. So if that's
yeah, my answer to that was I actually found that exactly what I was doing before was what I discovered I needed to do during this time. That I did have at the very beginning a bit of sort of like feeling a little lost and how am I going to manage this? And I was not in my normal routine. And I realized very, very quickly that I actually had to go back to doing exactly what I was doing. Then to add to that, to spend more money on marketing and have a better presence in terms of social media, and spend more really quality time actually talking to clients of mine. I mean, I've called people where I've emailed them notes and all those things over time, and I've actually called them, and I've had a couple of them say, oh my gosh, we haven't talked in 10 years. Let me tell you all about the grandkids. And we've had some really, really nice conversations. It's been not only from a marketing perspective, but really a pleasant experience for me too. Like, I feel I'm connecting to people and to humans, and I need that every day. So while I hope I'm helping them, honestly, they also helped me.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's similar. I would say, what are we going to change? I know Dennis hates when I say this because he says I enjoy going to get the dentist as well. But I have to say, this last 30 days, 45 days has been the most fun I've had in real estate in 20 years. So people say, what are you going to do? What are you going to change? I think I'm going to try to keep this enthusiasm that I've had, this excitement of challenge, this excitement of helping people and listening to people, and really listening to what folks have to say and thinking about how you can try to solve them. So it's not, I would say I might have lost a little bit of the excitement there for a while. And I think what this time period has done is reinvigorated me as far as the business and the opportunities in the business and the being able to help people in the business which is what we're all about. And so to me, it's like, what have I lost? Maybe I'm not sure I lost anything, but I think I gained a lot of perspective from this what's taking place right now and what it is to be a successful real estate broker and what is our place in society on there. I know that's a big thing to say, but I've been having more fun and I've been more excited in the last 45 days. So I need to figure out, how do I keep that so that we continue to move forward with that when things come back to normal.
That's so cool that you,
Yeah.
I think that's super neat. I didn't really verbalize it that way, but I love how you said that, because I do remember, each day, and as I have for years, I wake up and do like kind of my prayer gratitude moments. And I always say, maybe just out of habit, I'm so grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my health and my kids, et cetera. And I go down that road, and I really did feel grateful for my job, but never have I ever felt as grateful for my job as I do now. And it's not going anywhere. My job's not going anywhere, but it made me feel like I am so lucky that I work where I work, and that I have the kind of job where it's up to me to create, like you said, Greg, that enthusiasm and help people. We are so incredibly lucky. And so my gratitude in the mornings sure means a lot more to me now than it did a couple months ago.
Yep. And I agree. And I think we're all leaning into that right now. And, and then the other thing, I think the biggest change, Kim, that I'll have, this Zoom, while is different, I think I am going to integrate it more. I found that I love having a cocktail on Zoom. I didn't know it was going to be so much fun. So, I think there are going to be things like Zoom that we're going to integrate in. I mean, we have family dinner on Sunday night with folks that don't live in town. So those are things that we'll keep doing. But also I think our office meetings now, with the fact that we end up having 30, 40, 50 people in an office meeting, that's going to be huge, because it's great to have that sharing of ideas. So I know I changed the question back to things I'm going to keep doing, because there's not a lot that I'm going to change about what we did in the past, other than maybe is leaning into how lucky we are. But I think Zoom will stay, or this type of communication will stay, because it's awesome. It's just a blessing to be able to have more insight, more ideas, and more brain trust on this because of these type of activities.
Yeah, the Zoom format's fabulous. I have a question for you guys. I know on this call and on this meeting, I guess it's not a call really, we have some folks who are maybe just launching into the business or relaunching into the business. What's two pieces of advice that you would give them as they launch into real estate?
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
As a long, I don't think the advice would be any different that I would have now versus, back in the past. I think that they could take this time, what's left of it before we kind of get back to normal, and really make sure that their website looks amazing and that their social media platforms are set and ready to go. A lot of times when you're just starting in the business or when you come back, it's so busy as you get going that you don't have time on your website, and you don't have time to make sure that everything's polished and your marketing pieces are perfect because you're frantic and you're running. Well, this might be a little bit of a slower easing in, where if you can make sure your basis for all of those things are really professional and totally set up, and when you are sort of let out of the gate, then I think you'll be ready to go. I think this is the time to make sure all of those ducks are in a row.
And I would agree. And I agree. And I think my advice always, as far as real estate or getting into real estate, and if you want to choose real estate as a profession, is you have one job. You have one job, and that is to be a facilitator of communication and a leader. Because you need to put yourself in people's minds of that when they're thinking about making the biggest financial decision in their life, for most folks, that they want your help because you're going to be there for them. So if I were new getting into the real estate industry right now, I think there's an amazing opportunity because I think there's a leadership void taking place right now. So, and I think we can fill that void. And so what you can be is you become that person of your friends. Are you the person setting up Friday night? And I was joking about order, but are you the one who went out and got the professional level of Zoom so that you can set up the Friday night happy hours or the Friday night poker club, or are you the one that's actually facilitating the coaching calls? Like everybody knows I coach high school rugby. We still have rugby practice. And even though we can't practice in person, we still have Zoom call rugby practice. So you've got to put yourself in the position that you are the facilitator and people look to you for help and questions. And, and so you start, if I was getting new into the business, I'd look and say, okay, where can I be that helper? Can I put together a Thursday night study session for everybody I know that we're going to get people on the Zoom call? And because kids are needing help in math and things along those lines, and there might be somebody that's great at math and they'd be willing to on Thursday nights, but you're facilitating that time period. So what you need to do right now, if you're new in the business or relaunching in your business, is step back and say, what do you love to do? But that's the great thing about real estate, because you can be a hiker, you can be a super fitness person like Kelly, and you can have all these things that lean into that. It doesn't matter. You can, whatever your interests are, painting. Cindy, my wife, loves painting. You can look at that area of interest and then say, how am I going to be the epicenter for people on that area of interest? That's how you become successful in real estate. It's a very straightforward map to get there. And I think right now is a gift as a new person, because there's a bunch of realtors that are choosing to go into hiding. And there's also a lot of other folks in other areas of our society that have chosen to hide. So now you have the opportunity to step up and be that leader and take that space.
So true. Greg is really good at math, by the way. Should we all call you on Thursday nights?
Yeah, that's true. You are. I heard somebody, I think it was in the last Zoom call we had or it was another call I was on, that had talked about, setting up a group of parents, and each parent would maybe take a night where they would read stories to the kids, which gave the parents a break from
Beautiful.
kids.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great idea. That's a great idea.
You know, there are a lot of good things that have come out of this, I think. And it's like Greg said, things that he will continue on, like using Zoom in a greater capacity in our regular lives. Or like the, you know, communities coming together and helping with kids and stuff. And I think if we focus on what we have liked about this whole thing, like Greg's renewed enthusiasm for the business, my renewed gratitude, I think we'll find that we'll look back and I don't think we'll think this was such a terrible thing. This is very interesting and a real learning experience. And you know, one of the things that I learned was I had to let go of my goals. I'm a big goal person, so not just yearly goals, monthly goals, but my goals go right down to the day. So at the end of every day, I have a very specific goal of what I needed to have done and how many calls and how many listing appointments, how many sales, etc. And when I realized that I was no longer in control of that, it was kind of refreshing to just say, you know, I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to help everybody who needs help, and I'm going to make sure I'm there and I'm present for them. But I am not going to take this time and waste it. You know, I'm going to enjoy it, and I think I have so far, minus a couple random days here and there. But I feel like there are a lot of good things that have come out of this whole time.
I love that perspective. It's you know, the new normal. I personally don't feel we're ever going to go back to where we were. It's just going to be a new normal. And part of that normal is learning to work virtually and using Zoom for things like maybe a pre-listing consult that you might have done on the phone, and now you're doing it on Zoom. There's so many ways that this has impacted us, but hopefully for all of us, and it goes to Kelly's gratitude too, and in really understanding what truly is important. And it was the Greg's Ford, the first one on there, is family. You know, those you love, right? So,
Yep.
Greg, anything else from the owner perspective or the broker perspective?
No, I would say my main thing from an owner perspective or sitting in that seat is, you know, people have listened to me before, is my goal is it's not good to great anymore. It's great to fabulous. And we have to be fabulous in everything we do. And I would say I am beyond humbled by our brokers and what I've seen of everybody choosing and stepping up and being fabulous. And as a real estate broker, it's as the owner is, or even looking at that is, you know, when I comment on Facebook or anything I do right now, I have to filter it through. Does this make the person I'm talking to feel better about themselves? I don't have the option to give my opinion if it's to give my opinion to bring somebody else down. So our job is to actually constantly bring everybody up now, is to lift those around us. And why I say that is I'm actually seeing that in our broker community more than any community I've watching. And so I would say my closing thing is I am just amazed how fabulous everybody is being. And that's the great thing I'm seeing right now is when we're at our hardest, when we're at our most trying times, is actually when I really think we as a species, a lot of times is when we're at our best. So I think that I would say to Alliance family, when you say family, is that's where I'm absolutely amazed and impressed from, you know, from Chad to everybody else. I mean, I've just been blown away with how fabulous everybody's been. So that's my thoughts.
Thanks so much, Greg. And it's so true. Does anybody watch John Krasinski's SGN, Some Good News?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Oh my gosh, guys, if you have not seen this, all he does is talk good news. And we're watching his good news for the week. And, you know, it struck me when he does these, he shows how fantastic people are in this time. And it was one of the things that I thought, you know, in general about America is that we can take what would appear to be a tough situation and really find good in it. And there are so many good people out there who are embracing this. And I agree with Greg that our Alliance Realtors and the leadership that they've shown, which I think there's a lot of that in our group, the leadership that is shown by RE/MAX Alliance Realtors is humbling. I will say that. I'm certainly humbled by how amazing you guys are. So I feel very blessed and grateful, actually. You know, Kelly, any last words for the good of the group? Any last ideas?
I don't think so. I think I've said everything I thought about it, unless there are any questions.
Take a look at these.
Well, I am unmuting everybody. Maybe I won't because there's exciting noise.
Please don't do that if you're driving.
That was a free for all.
But I want to just talk to you.
Okay, somebody has something really interesting. That's what I have to say there. Whoosh. Okay, guys. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts? You know, now's your time to ask these guys. They've generously given time. So any specific questions about listing presentations or buyer presentations, anything? Now's the time. Sheesh, you guys are a quiet group. I am going to ask one person to talk because he is always added, and that would be Mr. Goldberg. Mr. Goldberg. Oh, Heidi's asking, what's your best social resource? Heidi Greer asked.
What does she mean by that?
What does she mean by that?
I mean, is there somebody that you hire to help you keep up with all your social posting and your social presence? Is there somebody that you personally use to do that?
We use an organization called Dippity that helps us on some stuff. And then I will actually say that, but the majority of it is done by an amazing young man I have that works with me named McLean. So he works on my team. So that the majority is done by McLean. So.
Awesome.
Gotcha. I don't have any particular company other than the one that I use for my website, but my social media postings all come from me because I really enjoy doing that stuff. So
Good for you.
And I will.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and Heidi, a lot of my stats and stuff, my charts do come. I like keeping current matters. I think KCM, I think is what they go by. They have some great information that they put out.
That is great information. Thank you.
Yeah, Dippity and Keeping Current Matters, guys. And Angela said that she started using ZenTap, Z-E-N-T-A-P, and that she likes it. So, too. The only reason I'm asking Bill to talk here is just to give a perspective from the lender view of what is out there, because, you know, there are going to be people who will have gaps in their employment and that sort of thing. So, Bill, could you just speak briefly to that for us? Briefly, Bill.
Absolutely. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It is great seeing everybody on Zoom. I think it's a contest here to see whose hair can get the longest.
Oh, you want to
look in there?
Greg
Yeah, it's getting high. But anyway, I appreciate it, Kim. I think that, you know, for our part, I would just encourage everybody on the call to definitely talk to your Home Mortgage Alliance representative in your office about changes, things that are happening. Where we're seeing the most changes are really around jumbo products. We're seeing them with some government loans. You know, we've seen credit scores, required credit scores go up. We've seen, you know, debt to income ratios come down as far as what's allowable, trying to close that range a bit. So there are definitely some programs and products where what we would call overlays have come into play. So you just want to make sure that if you have someone that that has historically been able to qualify, that anybody you're working with, that they don't have something in place that may push them out. The other piece that Kim mentioned that's been really important has to do with employment and the continuation of income. So knock on wood, we haven't run into a ton of this. It seems like I probably shouldn't say it, but it seems like it's kind of shaken out a bit where if people were going to be impacted on being put on furlough or laid off or temporarily not working, it's kind of shaken out. We have not run into this month a lot of people that we're finding that this is, something new is coming up at the last minute. Hopefully, as we continue to turn the corner here and it becomes safer at home versus stay at home, we start to see it move the other way where employment starts coming back in the picture. The part that's unclear, and I think this is really important to point out, is how some of these gaps will be looked at as people, months from now are looking to, do financing. We have not really gotten any guidance from Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or from the GSEs on how that will be looked at, as this is as we've heard 100 times, an unprecedented situation. So I think they're still trying to figure out how that will be viewed. Same thing with topics like forbearance. That's a big one. It sounded for a while like people were being encouraged to do it because it was allowable, but what the unintended consequences of that and how that may impact their ability to get a mortgage in the future or, different aspects of that are still unknown. So, these are things that all have to be discussed and have to shake out. But yeah, we're actually still to this day, the day before funding a loan, we're calling and making sure that someone is still employed and that their income has not been negatively impacted by the COVID crisis. So I know I said a lot of information there. I hope that answers the question, but if there's anything else that I can speak to, I'm glad to do it.
Yeah, it's part of the process, that is for sure. And again, I've said this on every call, so some of you already know this, but kudos to Home Mortgage Alliance, who got the friend of someone close to me into their house, even though they are in the restaurant business. They work they don't own a restaurant, but they work in the industry, and they were able to close on their deal thanks to our fabulous loan officer who took very good care of them. So just that's a unabashed plug for HMA. So anything else, you guys? And just go out and enjoy the day. Greg, anything further? Any final thoughts?
No, I would say let's just all focus on being fabulous.
Focus. I like that. Thank you. And thank you to both of you guys for sharing. Most grateful to you guys. Guys, go out and have an incredible day. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Greg.
Bye, Kelly. Great to see you.
You too.